Schmerzen sind sicher etwas, was dir fremd ist.
Manchmal schon.
Zu kämpfen mit dem Feind, ihn zu verfolgen und zu vernichten und sich zu erfreuen an dem Geschrei der Weiber.
Nicht nur der Bildschirm ist flach, die Erde ist es auch. Das gibt's im Netz in verschiedenen Varianten, kann man also unter auf irgendwelchen Heimseiten findet man das. Auf Homepages findet man tatsächlich die Hypothese, die Erde sei flach. Und alle Wissenschaftler natürlich, die wären alle dabei bei der großen Flacherde-Verschwörung. Man würde es uns nur nicht sagen.
We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society. We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
If I say that the world is round and someone else says it's flat, that's worth reporting. But you might also want to report on a bunch of scientific evidence that seems to support the notion that the world is round.
It's amazing to watch the White House continue to argue that the Earth is flat. Jeff Zeleny, Manu Raju, thank you so much.
Nehmen wir mal an, wir sind aus einer Zeit, lange vor aller Zeit. Die Erde bildet sich gerade. Wie soll aus einem unförmigen Klumpen aus irgendwelchem Material eine Scheibe werden? Wann bildet sich eine Scheibe? Wann?
Now with the story behind the unusual sight in Maine, a giant floating disk of ice spinning in a river.
distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
The North Pole used to be a no man's land, but these are the days when, by buying a ticket on a commercial airliner, you can fly across the North Pole and drink a cocktail at the same time. Yet only 60 or more years ago, about 35 years ago, our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight, and I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
As I said, it's the most peaceful place in the world, but I don't think it will be for long because of this intense interest on the part of other nations and this nation.
Well, Admiral Byrd, are private expeditions a thing of the past? Is expedition and exploration, making expedition and exploration now purely a government function because of the tremendous cost and organization?
No, I don't think so. I think down south it may be more or less a thing of the past, but not other expeditions that go. There's a lot of them go north now.
This latest expedition now on the way is a government expedition, I take it.
Yes, that's the government.
Admiral Byrd, may I ask you, is there a great difference between the top of the world and the bottom of the world?
There is. Now, the North Pole is the center of an ocean 10,000 feet deep. The South Pole, the center of a plateau 10,000 feet high. The North Polar Sea is surrounded by continents that are slightly frozen. The Antarctic continent is surrounded by a belt of ice, frozen seas of at least 1,200 miles thick. Now, the south is a plateau. It gets, in some places, 14,000 feet up. I've been over areas about 13,000, and it's a little bit chilly up there. So there's that big difference between the top and bottom of the world. The north really isn't very cold up there on the Arctic Ocean.
Not compared to the south. Admiral Byrd, we often hear it said that our young Americans now aren't as hardy as their forefathers. Do you think that Americans do measure up to the standards, the physical standards and morale standards of the past?
I do. I don't believe that. I think they're just as hardy.
Well, what would you say was the most valuable factor on an expedition? Is it morale, or physical courage, or is it sheer equipment?
Well, I've always thought that loyalty was by far the most important trait. The British told me that when I first went down in 28, that I couldn't possibly get through the winter night without a mutiny if I took more than 20 men. But to serve science, I had to take 42 men. Then I took 56 the next time, and so on. And I did find that loyalty was the most important thing during the winter night when it's very hard on your nerves. I think that's best trait.
Well, that's a very valuable characteristic at any time. Well, thank you very much, Admiral Byrd. It's been a great pleasure to have you here tonight.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Yes.
The opinions expressed on the Longines Chronoscope were those of the speakers. The editorial board for this edition of the Longines Chronoscope was Larry Lasser and Kenneth Crawford. Our distinguished guest was Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
Mir reicht's jetzt! Ihr werdet mir genau zuhören, verstanden?
Sie verscheißern mich.
Ich scheiße nicht auf Sie. Ich bin der Spielverderber. Ich komme wieder.